Okay, good evening. Meeting of the South Road Tricentennial Committee. It's Tuesday, March 12th,
6:33.
6:33 p.m. First item on the agenda is the approval to approve the meeting minutes of February 7th, which was our last meeting. We'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes as written. Somebody say so moved.
Yep, I did.
Okay.
Seconded.
Okay. Motion made and second. Any discussion, any comments? Hearing none, all in favor, Morris? Aye.
Martin's aye.
Dennington, aye.
Prince Fiore, aye.
Glaschke, aye.
Okay. Next item on the agenda, town meeting preparation, review of presentation. So thanks to Ginny, we're up to a good start with the 4 slides.
Well, that came out of Jim's
Oh,
presentation that he did. I did the outline, he did the,
this one here, Jim?
no,
Jim, I'm sorry, I got a little confused looking at different slides. Jim also had some slides, so.
so Jim did some slides and you said you wanted color. So I took Jim's slides and I added a little, I formatted and added a little color. But I wasn't sure if that was the direction you all wanted to go. So I
It's good to me.
didn't hear back, so I thought,
I
let's,
think it looks good.
you like it, you like it.
Yes,
with the
and I
color.
like the fact that it was whittled down to what, 4?
Well, I was going to do the budgets, the town budgets, because I think that's valuable information,
The most.
right? And that, should we bring up a copy of Jim's slide?
I have that open.
Oh,
So I
that'd be
could
great.
share that.
Okay, so let's just take, I want to get as much of this behind us so we can work on the things that are in front of us. So this is the first slide, right?
Yes,
And one of our committee members earlier said that a slide should have the names of the committee members. Do we could either add it to this slide or make it a quick second slide.
Quick second slide.
Just after the first slide. So slide 1 will be something like this, if not this.
It should be that. That's
And then
It'll
slide
get
2
your
will
attention.
will look similar to this, but list our names, committee members, and so on.
okay, slide 1 stays the same. Slide 2 introduces the committee members.
Yep.
Okay.
Which one? These are on one. Which
So-
one was 3? 1, 2.
So this was what we've done, okay? So this, I believe this is 2. Let me just go to the presentation. You're just self-public, right?
Yep.
Okay, so basically what we have here are these are Jim's slides.
Mhm.
Okay, so today's agenda was the second slide.
Mhm.
And what I did was I just took those and added, formatted and added the color. So today's agenda
It's,
is the number 2,
okay, which is now number 3.
which is now number 3.
That's this one. You with me, Jim?
yeah. I've got both of them open, the original and Ginny's.
So, is that the next slide that we want to do is today's agenda?
So, well, what's interesting, it says here, introduction and charter, so we've already introduced ourselves. So maybe we just say initiating the charge, because we already introduced ourselves.
Yes. These. This is just my opinion, and feel free to disagree, because I think there's a lot more experience in presenting slides than I have, but this and this, it's too busy, it's too much reading. The contents might be sufficient, might be fine, but they would probably be broken down into.
Well, this is what was on Jim's, today's agenda.
Yeah.
And these are the action, the items.
Could I just interject something? These presentations are supposed to be at a maximum of 5 minutes. So I don't think there is a need to present an agenda for your 5-minute presentation.
I mean, the other thing is you could have this as a handout out in the hallway where, you know, people could be reading it, you know, earlier in the meeting or so forth. And whatever you do finalize as a presentation will be uploaded to the town website
Right.
before town meeting.
But the slides are really, they're not supposed to be dictated by what you're saying. It's not supposed to be a, you know,
Kind of a
word by
snapshot.
word of what you're saying. I don't see a need for a agenda on a 5-minute presentation per slide.
100% agree. I was just making it colorful of what was already there.
Oh, yeah, no, I love the
So I
colors.
think, I mean, that was why I,
Very cute, the graphics are cute.
but I just, my point was, I knew we had to talk about the presentation.
Yeah.
So I agree with you all. I think it has to be much less words. short,
Yeah,
and
you need to have like the max
So
of
let's
like
put-
4 or 5 slides.
Let's put this, today's agenda on the shelf for now.
Yeah.
Right? And then we'll move on to that next slide, which is initiating the change
the charge.
or charge.
This typo, they're initiating spelled incorrectly.
Yeah.
So if the first slide, this slide you're saying is going
It's on the shelf right
on
now.
the shelf, then why not instead of initiating a charge, say, you know, committee work to date?
Yeah, I mean, do they really need to know that? People should be aware that there was a committee formed by the select board.
Well, I think I agree with taking out the first column, but if it just said committee work to date, and then I think everything else in here is good, and I don't really agree that it's too much words, but then for creation, where we say we have created the web page, have we? In fact,
Well, we
created
have a
web page?
committee page. We
All
haven't
right,
created the Facebook account yet, for example.
So I'm taking out committee formed by the select board. They obviously know
yeah,
that happened,
Yeah.
okay? So monthly meetings began in November. We began by researching similar town celebrations, plans and budgets.
I think that's a bullet that really gives people comfort that we're not operating in a vacuum. Yeah.
100%. We compiled a list of 93 self-care organizations to approach for involvement.
Yes. Do you think that if I was one of those organizations and this was the first I heard of it, would I wonder if the others have been approached and they skipped me? Or and do I feel the shadow of approach being cast upon me?
And actually, that list is up to about 125
So you could say 100+ organizations.
But
and still counting.
And I like that. I was just gonna
Yes.
say, compiled a list of 100+ self-care organizations to approach for involvement.
What does approach mean? Who's gonna do?
We're gonna do that through an email blast, remember?
The email blast.
We're gonna start with that and get into the
Okay,
survey.
As long as we, when they, somebody might ask them, how are they gonna be approached? Now we have the answer.
File the list of 100+ Southborough organizations to approach for involvement.
In the original slides, the next three bullets were indented because they were part of explaining how we were going to approach them. So the announcement letter, the survey, and the outreach was kind of the explanation for that list bullet. That might make it clear.
I think the announcement, we get rid of the word drafted because that's on our agenda tonight, hopefully finalize that. And sign it tonight so that it can be launched. We can't, at town meeting say we drafted it. We have to have the announcement.
Distributed.
Yes.
Just to be clear, this is no longer an item at town meeting, right? This is just going to the select board? Am I right?
No, so
What?
Jim, there's still on the one article on the warrant for town meeting is the request for $30,000 to put into the Tricentennial Committee fund. Right. But the article that was taken off was, it wasn't necessary to have an article to create a fund to receive donations and use to spend for the celebration, because there's already a state statute that said towns could do that. So that's the reason why that was taken. But
All right, when I read that, I thought also that meant that the select board itself could elect to appropriate money to the committee fund, but not so.
I think so.
No, the funding of that 30,000 has to be through town meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I think, like, big picture, although the only real ask is for the money, the reason why I think some of this content is good is because it's to publicize the event, and that's one of the reasons why we haven't asked to have this to be on consent agenda, as much as we hope that everyone will unanimously say, yes, we want to have a good tricentennial celebration. It's not on the consent agenda just so that a brief presentation can be made at the town meeting to hopefully get people interested and excited about that this is coming.
Okay. I'm reading Brian's note more carefully. Like I understand, Rich, they're two separate things. One goes, one stays. Got it.
Yes.
Okay.
So did I answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, good.
So what is the bullet for the announcement letter? What does that say now?
Well, compiled a list of 100+ Southborough organizations to approach for involvement. Do you want me to add and still?
And still counting because
Or-
nobody would be offended that way.
Right.
Yeah,
Put that maybe in parentheses.
Oh, how about compiled growing list?
Growing list of 100+.
Yeah, compiled growing,
120 plus.
What?
You're a lawyer, you know this stuff.
compiled growing list of 120
Plus.
plus 125. Okay.
Sure, sounds good.
Southborough organizations to approach for involvement. Do I want periods at the end of these?
No.
Okay.
No.
Draft, we're not saying drafted, we're saying,
Create,
Distributed,
well, we haven't distributed it yet.
Right.
Created.
created.
But it will be distributed by March 23rd.
a created announcement letter.
That-
So do I say which was distributed to and who it was distributed to?
Too much detail.
I think that's a lot to add.
For the town, created announcement.
Announcement letter of.
What if you just said announcement, let the speaker, let the person say it's been distributed?
Southborough Tricentennial announcement letter.
All right, like that. created resident survey to capture suggestions and volunteers.
So I changed that to created survey to capture suggestions and volunteers from residents and businesses.
So.
Because we're
created
gonna send that to more than just residents.
Right.
So
Okay, so
first-
created
the first
survey
resident- Yeah,
to
okay.
capture suggestions and volunteers.
From residents and businesses.
To residents and businesses.
Created resident survey. Yes. Wait a minute, created survey to capture suggestions and volunteers
From,
From.
from or of, I probably were either, of
It all sounds weird.
residents and businesses, from residents, from, I like from.
How about created resident and business survey to capture suggestions and volunteers?
Perfect.
I mean, do they have to know whether it's resident and business? Can we just say created survey? I mean,
Well, we don't want the residents
Concise.
thinking they're the only ones.
yeah. Cause you know, in doing that survey, I came up with like, just like, you know, phonetically, some like stickling points of, for example, schools. So we want the schools involved and Kathy has helped me out with some contacts for the private schools and stuff. But they're not really a business. They're not residents.
I think we're
So-
just kind of overthinking this a little bit, like.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. Why do you have to qualify?
Let's
Let's just say survey.
Okay. Created survey. To capture suggestions and volunteers.
Mhm.
That's simple. Do we have to,
Overthinking makes it simple
um,
at the end.
do we have to say begin our initial outreach?
No,
I don't think so.
Get rid of that.
Anyway, whittling down already.
So the Tricentennial web page has not
we have-
really been done because
We have the
not-
committee page where we can upload
Yeah.
information, but we haven't created any kind of separate.
Could you
page yet.
say town Tricentennial web page
In the works?
and in the works
Yeah.
with links to social media
Mhm.
hyphen in the works?
and you're gonna put that through the town website.
It already is. So you have every board and committee has a committee webpage, so we can add more graphics and information
It's the
there.
most difficult website I've ever worked with.
So,
really is.
well, Vanessa, and I sat down with Jay and talked about this, and we can do our own website. But we would have to wait to have the approval of money in order to do that.
Funny,
Well, but we don't have that money yet.
right?
We have to have approval of town meeting, and then we can potentially have a website like some of these other communities.
If we're gonna put on the town website, make it easy to find, because a lot of stuff there is difficult.
Well, once you have social media, you're gonna have links to
Did he
everything.
register
everywhere.
that URL?
I think so. I'll email him right now.
Yeah,
Check that.
okay.
I believe he did.
And then the next thing is develop sponsorship package. The only reason I thought that was important is it sends a message. We're not just relying on the town for money.
Absolutely.
You know, we're, and I think we're gonna be able to get some big sponsors.
Yes. That absolutely has to be a point in this presentation
Mm.
that this money is essentially seed money that we're intending with all good intentions of supporting this as much as possible through donations and sponsorships and remuneration from fundraising and sale of merchandise.
So if we go back over all of these bullets, I think they're all past tense.
Yeah, so when you say developing sponsorship package, because we really don't have it. We don't yet have a, you know, you donate $10,000.
Yeah.
Well, we
Right.
have a
A rough,
outline.
okay.
Yeah,
okay.
we did. I circulated it.
Okay.
Yeah, so- Right.
It's just a very rough.
Right. So we
I
haven't
think
really
it's
discussed
consistent that
it at
they're
all. but-
Past tense, which they seem to be.
Well, you were saying committee work to date. So monthly meetings began researching with similar towns,
Right.
compiled growing list, created announcement letter.
Okay, so can we go back to bullet point 3? Let's make that shorter and just say researched similar towns.
I think that looks good.
Looks good, sounds good, and it's, I
Exactly.
think, grammatically correct.
Well, I'm gonna defer to second set of eyes on all of that. Now. The next,
So we'll move on to the next slide then. So this one here that we just worked on is slide number,
so that's gonna be three,
Three.
because for, right, what we have right now is one. Stays the same. We have. Two, we have to introduce committee members. Three, committee work to date. And four,
Sample calendar.
The word subtitle, Jenny.
Yeah.
See that?
yeah, that was just a placeholder
Okay.
for if we wanted, I had dates in there. Like to kind of demonstrate that we were gonna be doing
Yeah,
something.
okay.
And then I'm like, I don't know what the dates are,
Yeah.
so. Yeah,
these are possibly, or close, almost, yeah, in chronological order.
well, you have grand opening, you have grand finale. Gala sounds like it would be perfect for February, March. And again. When they already have gotten the survey. You already put in the survey what we're thinking of doing. This is just basically to say. Just sort of substantiate the need for money. We're gonna be putting on
Right.
a big show for the whole year. This isn't really specific because we haven't voted
Yeah.
on what we're doing. But these are the lights, so like when one of you is speaking to it, it can be. You know, we're excited to hear back what people really want, but
Through
you
the
know,
survey, yeah.
right, but you know, typical of other towns was a grand opening, a gala, an art show, a parade. Music fest, and
Yeah.
then that slide should take 15 seconds, really, right?
Yeah, as we were saying before we came on, that the people shouldn't need to have a good time explained to them. They all have, they all have ideas of how to have fun and celebrate something great like this. So I agree, we should not have to spend a whole lot of time explaining how to have fun and celebrate. Our mission for this particular warrant is to get funding and get the process moving. So that it's not all jammed into one fiscal year, one calendar. I like this, and the only, and I wouldn't change it at all, but there's 10 here. And if we talk about having at least one event a month, let's say, well, what happened the other 2 months?
Well, we gotta get summer nights in there, because you can't forget about that. They're gonna want that. People will become used to that every year.
Oh, yeah.
You know, when I was a kid, we had nothing, right?
Well, you know what I
We
can
had a
do, I
farmer's
mean,
Field day right out there.
Field day.
I can add 5 more.
When it gets even smaller, I think it's fine.
I,
I think this is just an
Example.
example. I mean, we're not gonna finalize this until we get
And I
answers from
think,
the survey.
If
and-
way purposes at town meeting, make sure you put summer lights in there, because if you don't, people are gonna start rabble rousing.
Well, I
think
wonder if
it's
you could
captured
combine
by
that with
fireworks.
music festival.
well, you've also got Heritage Day, and that's not,
I wouldn't worry about it.
yeah, and if
This
anybody
town has
asks,
changed so much since I was a little kid, let me tell you.
I think if anybody asks. We just defer right to, we're so excited to get feedback from the survey to find out what people really want. These are just
Yeah.
some examples from other towns, and then just, that's it.
and I think as each of us have contacted people in these other towns, these seem to be consistent with every town celebration. All of these, or most of these, the towns have done parade, fireworks, some type of picnic. All right.
Okay, so I stopped here because I didn't want to keep going if this wasn't the direction that the committee wanted to go on.
I think you did great work.
No, it looks great.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Very colorful.
So we got 4 slides now.
For your, I was sick one day, so it was looking for you guys. But I really like Jim's next slide, which this one was the similar town events and budgets.
I can share that if anybody wants on the screen.
Yeah, mine isn't.
So I'm not sure what this says. So Rutland spent only $8,000.
I can't actually read this.
Stone spent $3,000,
I think that's tens of thousands of dollars.
$30,000.
Yes. Jim, is that correct?
No, that's just the number of activities that we collated by researching those towns. That's not dollars.
Oh, okay, you
Events.
did do a slide
Celebration
with
events.
dollars.
So down at the bottom, the idea was we were going to show just how active the other towns were. Westboro, got first prize with 43 events for their celebration and so on. And if we had it, I was recommending putting the comparative budgets in there to say, look, this is not an unreasonable ask to have seed money towards what's going to be a much bigger activity. And then later on, there's a sponsorship program and other slides that support this.
I think probably more important would be just a simple representation of the amount that the centennial celebration costs for each town.
See, what we
The
were
ones
hoping
that
to
we
get
know
was
of.
how much the town put in, how much sponsorship, if it was a perfect world.
Yeah,
And it's
right.
not realistic to think that by town meeting, we can find out what each town spent. Like I sent out that email, what that wonderful woman sent me about what they raised and everything, but we can't get that for 10 other towns. It's just too hard to reach the people. People don't know.
You're making
No.
close to 10 towns. I've got
I think it's
3.
it's
I've got 3
less
towns.
important of how many events they had versus how much it
They
cost the
spent.
taxpayers or how much it cost overall.
Are you saying that the cost is more important than the number of events?
Yes,
Okay.
for for the purpose of this presentation. Not potentially in the grand scheme.
I thought it'd be great to have sort of the town population, what they spent, because the town population, you look at Rutland, what was the one that you had,
Northfield,
Northfield?
Yeah.
2,800,
2,800 people, and what did they spend?
85,000.
Right.
So I think people have a lot of people have a rough idea of that anyway. I think it would be simpler
Okay,
if we just had a table, right? Just alphabetical list of table or, the towns sorted by how they big there and just the numbers,
The number of what?
money.
Yes, dollars. Right.
Budget.
That's the thing that Jenny's saying, though. We may not be able to get more than a few data points on that.
because there's the town money that they gave. Then there's the money that they raised through fundraising, like what town did I say, Holliston spent 150,000?
So could you put a high and a low? And then just, just kind of, graphically put the names of other towns, like in type. And just, what is that called? Like a scattergram almost?
Mm-hmm.
And just put a low and a high number.
That's like, do we have a collection of all the numbers somewhere? I have bits and
I don't know
pieces.
if they're all in one place. We do have this, that Excel spreadsheet that we started in the beginning about the town celebrations, but we'd have to go back and look and see, are all communities reflected in both of those files, Jim's bar chart and the Excel spreadsheet?
I have 4 towns. It is hard to get the
We
money.
have dollar figures.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. As recently as today was I was glad I was sitting down. It's Dover, New Hampshire,
Yeah.
which is a city. But about the size of Framingham, I think.
No, it's about
Population
$7.
wise. And they spent over between $400,000 and $500,000.
But how much of that was the town?
320,000.
Oh, real? With all of the,
For 4 straight
with all the
years,
big names that they have up there.
for 4 straight years,
Wow.
the city council approved in year 4, or in year 1, 60 grand, year 2, 75 grand, year
That's
3,
maybe not what we want to.
85,000. And year 4, 100,000, adds up to 320,000 that the city council approved to go into the celebration. That's huge,
Yeah, that's,
but that's an example.
But
Then
we're
you have,
only asking for 30, so it
that's a
sounds
little
great.
over the top.
but then you have like Chester, New Hampshire. It's a town, it's a small town, very small town.
Very small.
And for 6 years, I guess they don't have the same law that we have about collecting money. Each of the 6 previous years, they collected 5 grand a year, so 30,000.
I like the idea of scattergram.
Right, you don't have to say what each individual town, just, we haven't planned the event, so there's no way of knowing how much this is gonna cost. We're just trying to give an idea of what other towns had, but then make a specific bullet point at the bottom about, this is a combined total of money raised by sponsors, advertisers, and through town participation.
We don't have that data.
No, that's what I'm saying, is that you do it as just more of a graphic, like a scattergram, with a low point, a high point of what we perceive the expectation to be from our research. List towns, of the towns that we've talked to, and then qualify it by saying it's a combination of sponsorship, advertising, and town practice.
I think. What Don is saying is there's just not enough dots to put on this.
Don?
Don,
Oh, Don.
there's not enough dots to put on this.
Been close.
I just think to keep it simple, simple table with just the numbers, a lot of it can also just be explained orally as well.
What would the table look like, Andrew?
Like this.
Now, budget.
So Jim has it formatted up above as a bar chart.
Yeah,
Well, but that's the number of events. That's not the amount of money.
I can update that to show money or anything we've got, if we can just assemble, all the data we've got, and I can make it look as concise as possible.
Do others, do any of you guys have the dollars from other towns?
I do.
How many towns do you think you have? I have 4.
so Jim, you already have the numbers to fill in where it says budget?
No, that's why I left it blank. I need the data that we've got. I'll be happy to compile this and update it if I can get the overall list from someone of what we know. Or if you want to run through it right now for 5 minutes and I'll just take notes.
So I
You
have,
those numbers?
I don't have those. I have for 4 towns. None of them are listed there. We could subtract out some towns and add the ones. Jenny, you said you got some numbers from a couple of towns?
I think what we would do if we were going to try and fill a scatter diagram is kind of blend this with Andrew's idea of, because we don't want to show the towns that had 2 and 3 events. And we want to show the people that got 5,000. So, parochially speaking, I think we'd want to list what we know with some key examples. And I would say, maybe on a line that said a number of activities. Local examples are Hopkinton with 27 and Westboro with 43. Just point out the winners in that category. So anyway, I'm happy to make this as compelling as possible. I just need more information. We've got the number of events. If we can figure out how much budget data we have, I'll update this.
so Jim, I
Yeah.
have Holliston said they got 30,000 at town meeting and they're spending well north of 150.
Okay.
So that would be 180 plus.
Then.
Oh, no, probably inclusive of Patty, be my guess. If they got 30 from town and they're spending 150, it's probably inclusive.
Okay, then, Littleton. Got 10,000 at town meeting and then they passed. Moved a motion for the sum of 50,000.
Again, that's additional town money, Jenny, or something else?
Yeah. So they got,
That's really 60?
so the town clerk said at select board meeting in 2010, they were given $10,000. And then there was an article in their town meeting to move a motion for the sum of 50,000 and it was passed unanimously in 2013.
So we
So
really,
that's,
60.
That was 10 years ago. I mean, costs are dramatically changed.
so I don't know, here's what I don't know. I don't know how much the town raised because their celebration was huge. But they did get 60,000 from the town.
Right, so you can't really just represent it as 60,000.
But are we looking to say what other towns got from their towns? Because we don't know all what other towns spent on their celebration. We're not gonna be able to get that. So do we want to just say what the town gave? But like, as an example, Holliston spent well north of 150. But they only got 30 from the town, but they only relied on 30 from the town. Littleton.
Holliston, and
Relied
when was
on
Holliston?
60,000.
That was 2024.
Is that
So,
this
I
year?
mean, maybe just feature one or two examples that are of the most recent, because that would be the most concurrent in value.
Okay, hold on, I also just got,
Yeah, like Rutland was 2022.
Right, do you have the numbers for Rutland
No.
hold on.
West Row was 2017.
or Easton? Do we have, no, we don't.
We
That's
don't have
2025.
Hopkinton.
Times have changed since then.
Kate Berry said she talked to you about Ludlow.
Yes,
That's true.
Did you get a budget number? on that?
no, I haven't yet.
She said,
Yeah.
but she said she had some information.
Yes, but she gave me the contact information.
Oh,
of her.
got it, okay. And. Okay, so Stoneham was 2025. Holliston 2024, Rutland 2022. Which ones do you have?
Northfield,
At what year?
2023. And that was only there, that was the 350th.
And they got how much from the town?
Total of 85. They spread it out over 3 years. And I was able to find this stuff on from Massachusetts towns by going to the town meeting warrants. And just do the research was Tricentennial, if I didn't, it's there, or celebration. And it would, you'd find the article in these towns, and there it was, it said to 5,000, 10,000, whatever.
Right,
These
so
two-
that's what was allocated by the town, but not what was necessarily spent for the events. Right,
Right, but our focus this month, this town meeting is to see, is to compare ourselves to what was appropriated by the other towns.
Yeah.
So there's just a link here. I was looking at Rutland. And it says, since 2021, the Rutland Tricentennial Committee raised 68,776 in donations. So Melissa Danza serves on a committee in Rutland. She lives there. So I think we can find that in updated information from Rutland.
Well, for example, Holliston told me that they were collecting, they had a fundraising every year Holliston Day or whatever it's our Heritage Day.
Mhm.
And every year, for many years, they saved money for this celebration.
Mhm.
So they've raised over 150,000. But they only took 30 for the town.
It's great.
So Jenny, 150 was on top of town funding, so it's really 180 in total?
I would say so. She said we're spending well north of 150.
Okay.
And they got 30 for the town.
But to keep it focused and simple, if the slide keeps it to just what the town's appropriate. And then the presenter, if we have 6 towns, there's 9 up here right now, but if we have 6 or 7 or 8, if we can get the money, with the record of how much the town's appropriate. And then the speaker, the presenter, would have that second number separate, so people ask, well, Rutland appropriated 30,000. How much did the whole thing cost? We
Was
would
that
have
30,000 per year or 30,000 total?
I think it's
again, to
30,000.
keep it simple. The per year thing is more complicated because, again, my limited research shows that some towns, 5 years back, 6 years back, started collecting money. And then others collected got the town to appropriate some money. And then they skipped a year, like 2020 for COVID or whatever. And then the following year, they had money appropriate. It's all over the place. And in some cases, I couldn't find it, even in the town warrant somehow. Maybe they didn't get any money. But I think, if you just have to picture yourself in the audience at town meeting. And I think to just focus on what the town's appropriate. But having as much information as we can, go back to what Jenny's saying is, what was the total? So if the town's appropriated 50 and the total cost of the thing was 51,000, then that town didn't do a very good job
Raising
of
money.
outreach. But like in the Holliston case, the town appropriated, was that 30? And they're gonna go over 150. And in the case of Dover, the city gave them 320,000 and they spent over 400. It tends to be all over the place. But
But
again,
maybe you don't want to highlight that one.
no, but if we can focus on what we want to present, then we can try to backfill over the next couple of days the information from those towns.
Did you guys see, I sent out, I may have only sent this out to Jim. The anniversary for Bellingham. They had a huge celebration and they only got 25 from the town.
But they got something from
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I don't know if I told you, but Holliston lost their time capsule and they spent $6,000 trying to do a laser or whatever to try to find it.
So somebody must have dug it up the store.
Maybe. Can't find it. I said, be careful not to do that. But this was I sent it to you, didn't I?
It came, Jenny, you sent it to the committee.
Oh, I
February
did. Okay.
20th.
Yeah, okay. Good. And then South Kingston.
Yeah, I saw that. That was interesting. They asked for 50 and we got 30.
Yeah,
So these are all points that support what we're asking for.
I think we can almost just say the norm for most towns is 30,000. Some towns get a lot more. Or take it over time. Some towns get a lump sum, some towns got 60. Sometimes, but we think a good target based on our research is 30,000. Because our goal is to get most of the fundraising done through sponsorships. and committee fundraising.
And how do you think we'll do a town meeting? Because Brian Valentine's original presentation of the upcoming year was like going to a funeral.
It's grim.
I think.
There's several very expensive
You think what?
capital
I
items.
will think that this article will do very well. The Tricentennial one.
And I couldn't quite hear you. You don't think this article is going to what, please?
Will do outstanding, do very well.
You do, you don't.
I think it'll do well.
Okay.
Because if he thought the other way, we'd kick him out.
You
What
know
is-
better than anybody. You think this is gonna be received well and people are excited
I
about
don't
it.
know better than anyone, but I think that, you know, it's something that we have to do.
So what are we gonna present? How are we gonna present?
On the other towns? Do we say something as simple as our without hard numbers, just because we're supposed to keep
The
this to
average is
5 minutes?
30,000.
What, how about this? Maybe we should just pick a date for a meeting next week and in turn we do some further work, just getting in a table. Just filling in the numbers you see there, and then we discuss it at another meeting to just finalize this.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I'm happy to take another pass through this.
I know that, you know, you were trying to have this done by this, it didn't happen, but we still have, you know, we still have some time.
So what towns do you still not have numbers for? Because, you know, maybe, you know, we can help going through the town accountant's office in those communities or the town manager's office and
Ooh,
figure
that's
out,
amazing.
you know, who is the person that can give us
Yes.
this number? So if you give me a list of the
Should-
communities that we
should be
still
treasurer's
need that from, you know, then we can try that route too.
I've tried that sometimes, and most of the phone calls, I get an answering machine.
Yeah.
And then sometimes they'll actually call me back. And then they'll say, we don't have that info. But so-and-so is, but they moved away. So the best resource I've found is to go to the town's town meeting records. And most of them have, they go back at least 5 years, and you can click on I don't know, Rutland Town Meeting 2020. You click on that and it'll show, it'll have the warrant.
Find the amount in their warrant article.
And then, you know, if they have more than 50 warrant articles, once you get into it, it goes quickly.
Okay, so do you want us to divvy up
I think if we
those
divide
towns?
concerts-
Like, you just assign us all towns and we'll go in and try to figure it out from the warrants?
I had better luck on Facebook. I reached out to the administrator on the Facebook page, and that's how I got the Bellingham woman to write me that. That's how I got the South Kingston. Because those people who are dedicated to the page are passionate about the whole thing, and they're in the know. So that's another avenue.
But definitely, however we get the info, I felt that I was having more success reading a particular warrant article for that particular town meeting, and it's in writing, and it also indicated whether it passed unanimously or not, and I think every single one of them that I read passed unanimously. So that would be a nice thing for one of us to say, to shame our town meeting into passing it unanimously.
And we should add Littleton, because that one passed unanimously, and it was 50,000, and I have a copy of the warrant.
But however we do it, let's assign some towns to each of us.
So are we gonna stick with this bar chart, the communities listed there, or do you wanna add any new?
I think we
communities?
should add whatever communities we have information for. I think like that North Kingston, even though it's Rhode Island, it was very recent and validated information. I don't know if you have Bellingham on there.
Yeah, Billingham's on. Right, some of these, we might strike out, the ones that are on.
We want Holliston on there. That's this year.
We may have to remove some because we couldn't get the info, but if we have any level of success, we can add some, and then, fill it in. There's nine up here. If we have, let's say at least 6, maybe as many as 10 or 12. It would be enough.
Shall we do the assignment?
Yes.
All right, let me recap what I've got for notes. Holliston, 2024, 180 total, 30K town funding. Dover, New Hampshire, I don't have a date for Dover. What year was that?
2023.
23, thank you. Town funding of 320, total over 500. Littleton, what year?
It was 2014.
Thank you.
So are we gonna keep that or are we gonna knock that one out?
Well, it had the Warren article.
Oh, okay, so that's good then. Yeah.
And it had town funding of a total of 60. I think that's worth mentioning. Even though we'll have a little date in small type, so it'll show that that number probably would be higher today. We don't know the total that they spent on the celebration, do we, Littleton?
No.
Okay. Stoneham, 20. Well, actually,
2025.
25. Do we have any budget data for them?
I was the one that looked up that. Town of Stoneham. There wasn't much information. They were getting ready for their kickoff in fall of 2024.
Okay, so nothing data there. That's all right. To the earlier point, if we only had 5 or 6, it's still enough to have some representative examples. Rutland was 2022, right? And do we have any budget allocation there from town?
No, but I can work on that one, Jim.
Okay.
I'm gonna do Bellingham and North Kingston.
Is it
And
north or
Lincoln.
south? North or south, Ginny? North Kingston or south?
What did I say before?
South,
North.
but I don't know.
I'm sorry. One of those Kingston towns I will have information for, and I also have Holliston.
Yeah, we know the answers there, right? 30 from the town and over 180 altogether?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
for 2024. Bellingham was, let's see, I think I have
Okay, so that's,
2019.
yeah, and that's the one that I just said, told you the amount,
25, that's what I wrote down.
25, but I might be able to get what their whole budget was.
Okay, Okay.
For information. So
and
I'll do
then,
North Kingston and Bellingham.
okay. Whichever Kingston it is, we know it's town funding of 30. And if there's anything else that comes up in the next few days, I'll work on this weekend for a meeting next week. But I'll be happy to blend this and at least use it as kind of a basis. I think that almost the most important slide following this, representative town sponsorship is the one after in my original deck that talked about sources of funding. And I took this from Ginny's kind of program matrix of the various donation levels and fudged it to get to a number that says, look, we're looking to raise 150 and the town only is, we're asking for 30. We're going to really be self-supporting in this endeavor. Vanessa, if you want to advance the slide one, if we're done here.
Sure.
Is there anybody you want me to follow up on?
Well, is Steve Valentine, he's not here this week?
No, he is.
So he had a relationship with the person in Westboro, so maybe we could ask him.
I can reach out to him and
Okay,
take it over. Sure,
because he already has a rapport
Yep.
going
not a problem.
with them. I'm gonna try Hopkinton again.
I'll try Stoneham only because I have a friend who works.
Okay, great. So
Maybe
Ginny
might
is
be the
gonna
right
do
direction.
Hopkinton. Bellingham. What are the towns?
Does anybody have Walpole?
And the Walpole ones.
They're 1724. That's this year. I'll take,
Were they assigned to anybody?
no, it's, my list has it blank, so I'll take Walpole. And then, 1718, which would be now, 6 years ago. We
Here
have,
are matches for 2018. Sorry.
we have Brookfield and Sunderland. They've already done this.
I'd say if we've got additional ones like that, great. Otherwise, we've got a list already of around 10 or more. Get what you can, if you don't mind, guys, by end of day, Friday or Saturday morning or something, then I'll work on it this weekend and put together an update.
And I'll follow up with Ludlow.
Just email me whatever, individually, whatever you get.
Okay. And when we get that, we'll just email it to you, Jim?
Yeah, the individual town data and whatnot, and I'll update the chart, the slide chart for over the weekend, and you'll have a replacement for this deck.
So the chart will have the name of the town and the total funding of the town from the town.
That's what I'm thinking, is if we have enough to fill those in, this will change from numbers of events to town-supported seed money or something like that.
So it would just be two data points. One would be the dollar amount and one would be the name of the town.
I thought we were gonna do what they spent as a whole. If we can get that information, what they got from the town, and then I thought maybe just the year.
Yeah, if we've got
So-
that, Jenny, I certainly want to add that if it doesn't make for a graph, I can put that underneath the name. I can figure out a way to lay it out. May or may not use a bar chart depending on how the data looks, but it'll at least contain the relevant information of the town name, sponsorship from the town, and then if we know the total amount they had for the event, include that too.
On the previous slide, yeah. So why can't you just put another row below that and say, total budget and town contribution? And just
Okay.
have it as two separate lines.
Yep.
So then the chart will have 4 data points. The name of the town, the amount that the town appropriated for the celebration, a dollar amount for that would be the total. People can do the math. And what was that fourth one?
The number of events.
I don't think we need the number of events.
Okay.
I think it's the year,
Oh, the year.
the celebration, the town.
Yeah.
Town allocation and total amount. And just, if there's an empty, we don't know, just an NA.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
don't have all the answers.
Yeah, like the town, like Bellingham, we know what they got, but we don't know what they spent on the whole thing.
Right.
The year of the town, the name of the town, the amount appropriated by the town, and the total cost.
Yes.
Jim, I can help with the formatting.
Up to you. I've got a spreadsheet that goes right into this charting. So if you guys send me the data, I can take a first pass. If you want to update it off of that, I'll send you the source materials.
Well, I liked this chart a lot, so.
I
Right, so
should
we
be
would-
able to come up with something graphical like this that would be comparative.
Is that in PowerPoint?
This is in Canva,
So
I can, I mean, I'm a novice.
yeah,
It's like, it's easy to quickly update.
Yeah.
We have our assignments for this.
all right, that's good.
We have a time frame for getting it to Jim. And now let's, is this the time or do you want to wait let's pick a day next week if we can?
So about that next slide, about the sponsorship levels, I would suggest we ditch that. That hasn't been discussed or finalized. and I don't feel
Yeah,
comfortable
it's too
with
early,
making
I think.
promises.
Which slide?
He had another
He had a
slide about
slide in
sources of
about-
funding.
the sponsored
Oh, you're
funding.
talking about his presentation.
And I don't think that we should include that.
I agree. Unless we've agreed on the levels and the benefits, we
Right.
don't do that. I put it out there as a straw person. So that if we want to come to conclusion, we can, but at some point, we'll want to show something like this.
I think just the fact that we mentioned it in the previous
Yes.
slide,
Right.
it's like, just calm down, everybody. We're going after.
Yeah,
The big
right.
money
That
from-
you're not gonna be footing this whole bill.
Right,
Right.
okay.
Okay. And then I would suggest putting back in the slide after that, that had the request for seed money and explaining why we need some money now. Was my original slide 7, Vanessa?
Yeah, okay, let me bring that up. Okay, this one here.
Yep, that one. Because my first thought when we start talking about seed money is, well, geez, how do we justify getting it now? But because we were originally talking about deposits on bands and fireworks and all that stuff is years from now. But this lays out a better case for why we need to get seed money at this point.
Do you want me to take a crack at making it look like the other slides?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Okay, so this is slide 7. Okay. So when I do that, once I have that done, is it okay if I send it? Should I just send it to you? Should I send it to
You can
everyone?
send it to everybody, but you just send it to yourself and put everybody else in the BCCs.
So nobody can reply.
So
Oh.
everybody can reply to you individually, but
Got
they
it.
don't do a group
So
plus.
send it to Tricentennial.
No,
No,
as BCC to
Yeah,
Tricentennial,
okay.
Yeah,
just send it to yourself.
and if you want to, you can include me, Ginny, because I'm not in the Tricentennial Committee
So
list.
send it to Vanessa and then
Okay.
BCC the Tricentennial.
She's a little camouflage.
Perfect, okay. Um.
And then do we need a conclusion slide or do we stop there?
I think that's good.
Let's stop there.
All
A thank you slide.
briefings should end it with a positive flavor. So if we think that this is leaving people feeling good, we'll end there, or a simple end of the it might show a picture of the town hall and the bunting.
Yeah.
We're very
Picture of you.
excited to celebrate.
Yeah, that's
Oh, I
actually
forgot.
good. There's another slide. If you want to take from that to make that your wrap up, you can.
I forgot to bring it, but I found the photo album from the 250th that was in the basement.
Really?
Town hall.
Cool.
Did
Yeah.
you find anything else on the 250?
No, not yet. I keep looking.
We should,
Really
can we
cool.
look at
You
that
can
and
scan some of them.
those?
Yeah,
and-
yeah. Remind me when you come to see Jay and I'll show
Okay.
you. I meant to bring it over here tonight.
What does the committee feel about, like, getting the word out on people's personal social media?
That's further down in the agenda. I want, if we're done with the slide presentation. For now.
Suggest if you want, there's a conclusion slide. If you want to lift a couple of points along with some illustrations. It's there if you, just to remind you.
But Jim, you're not volunteering to do the conclusion slide.
I did one. I just said if when we wrap this together, you can draw a couple, if we're gonna add. If we're gonna add photographs and bunting and like that, there's a couple other thank yous that can go in if you want. On that, on my old slide 8.
I'll play with it.
Great.
I think you need some of the black and white.
You know, I don't have a copy. For some reason, I'm not doing well with internet here tonight. Had his presentation up and running and I can't seem to find it.
So Jim's conclusion slide had a couple of bullets up there
Yes.
about, you know, we're very excited.
Yeah,
Milestone, thank you.
I
I
can
think
work
maybe
with that.
find some historical photos to.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, that's the idea.
do a collage or something.
I don't know what your thoughts are, but I have some photos from the turkey Gobble Wobble. And there's like Bee and Betty.
Oh, that's cute.
There's the town, you know, converging on, I don't know.
Right.
I'll just
for
run
the
it by
event.
everybody and we can mix in.
Yeah,
What was that for?
For the
for the conclusion slides.
exclusions.
Oh.
Some sort of,
I don't think it should be just a small group of people.
no, we were looking at just like townhouse, just a
Yeah.
different things, or do I just keep it cartoonish?
It should be a easy visual that makes people feel good. It's not too bad.
A nice beach scene.
We'll move on to the next agenda item, everybody.
Okay.
Review of municipal finance protocol, Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 531.
So I put this, Dawn and I were looking at this on Friday, and we put this in the packet just to point out in particular. On the second page, it talks about how funds, if this 30,000 is granted at town meeting, when funds can be expended. So we, you know, reread this recently and thought, you know, okay, on July 1st, the committee will have access to that money. But it really goes, it's very specific actually, and talks about when that money can be expended for purposes of the celebration.
We've seen it.
So I think the committee, the accountant and I were talking about this, and we're looking for guidance from the committee. Where when you think about all of these celebrations and launching your celebration, are you thinking like, you know, July 6, 2026 to July 6, 2027 and ending with the actual 300th? Or are you thinking about a few months before and a few months after? Because that will determine when you can expend anything from that warrant article.
I think we were originally talking about the calendar year of 2027, right?
Yes. It's when we can capture that. That's the year of the calendar.
Right, the calendar year.
So that would mean that the earliest you could spend would be July 1, 2025, right? Is that right?
26.
Yes.
26.
25. Because January, assuming it's in fiscal, because January 2000 and
If you want to launch the events on, for example, July 1, 2027,
yes,
then we can start spending that money July 1, 2026.
No, but we want to launch
thought you
the
said it was
events
20.
July, January 1,
I'm sorry.
2027.
Calendar, sorry,
Receiving,
calendar
succeeding
year.
the same.
Yeah,
So how does that affect it if we have to reserve bands with the
Right, or pay for a
that's the
website,
issue,
Challenge.
or pay for a website.
right? So either we cannot spend money until the dates we just talked about, or, you know, some of those things may have to be funded through some of the sponsorships the committee is able to.
Can we get a
Fine.
clarification from the state whether it's fiscal or calendar year?
Certainly,
It's
I'll
gonna
double
make a
check
big-
that.
It's gonna make a big difference.
well, to me, it affects whether you really characterize this as seed money, right? Because I think of seed money as money to spend first to grow something
Right.
later.
Do you think that's a qualifier in here?
I mean, I remember reading one of the warrant articles and they said they were approaching the town for seed money.
If. Based on some of the stuff I looked at. From some of those towns. Even nobody knows about this. When they ignore it, and it's not enforced.
Wow.
But we do, if the word year. It says here, be expended for purposes of said celebration or special event. In the year of such celebration or special event. And in the year preceding or succeeding the same. So if the town is able to. Towns are able to interpret year as either fiscal or calendar, that will help us plan. We should know that. We should need, and you're right, John, we need clarity on the definition of year. And then
That
if
doesn't seem all
this
that
has changed,
realistic.
if this has changed,
This doesn't seem a very realistic, this is like the state. It doesn't seem very realistic with this day and age. I mean, you know, look at people with weddings and you get them booking 3 years out. I mean, to say that you only have a 12-month window is
Well,
really
know
pretty
exactly when this
limiting.
was written, Peters.
And Holliston's planning their 250th. They said they had
This could be from the Civil War.
Clydesdales 3 years in
Oh, God,
advance.
absolutely, big stuff. That doesn't, this doesn't seem realistic at all.
so. Is this homework for Vanessa?
I'm gonna email town council right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then we can also talk about it tomorrow. So maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, because he'll be here tomorrow night.
Okay,
It's become, it'll seriously impact. We'll still function, we'll still get it done. But if we're restricted, we need to know, there's like a 6-month slide there. Where, it's maybe more important to be able to expend it as long earlier than 2027 rather than later. Is
Yeah,
that-
and we're trying to sell merchandise to raise money.
yeah,
We have
that's
to
not realistic. It
buy
can't,
merchandise.
it just doesn't make sense.
Okay. So that agenda item is in the hands of Vanessa, and Andrew and Vanessa will try to lean on town council tomorrow. He'll be, with this email that you're sending him, he'll have a chance to look at it and maybe some other things to see, to help him with his opinion. Next item on the agenda is to approve the final draft of the community outreach letter, which Vanessa and I worked on. We did some formatting, and this is the version that I hope to put 8 to tonight. If the board so votes. You all have it?
Do we have this email account yet with the town?
Yes,
Is it too wordy to say we're considering events such as, but not limited to? I don't want people to think
Yeah,
this is already.
no,
been
I
decided.
agree.
It just says we're considering.
We're considering events such as, but not limited to, because this looks like we already.
Okay.
Okay.
We don't have the ability to make this thing.
No,
Okay, I'll come in tomorrow and sign it.
yeah.
All right, you see where? The time? We're considering.
You could add at the end and many more or something like that. Because there probably will be at least this many things, right?
Oh, yeah,
Okay, so what do we want to change?
I was just gonna say, such as, but not limited to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
and that'll just push, there'll still be room without losing the line.
Patrick's Day, right? Did you look to eat for breakfast on St. Patrick's Day? Nothing, lunch.
Get that one, Vanessa?
Yes.
Where it says we will be reaching out to local businesses and organizations to become sponsors, and could we say and participants? If it's sponsors, it's just like we're coming after your money, but we really
Yeah.
want them to participate. We will be reaching out to local businesses and organizations to become sponsors and participants.
While providing input, and sounds a little bit
Or
funny.
just comma. Sponsors.
I think she's
comma.
asking to delete and providing input and
Okay,
replace that with.
we're taking out and
And
providing
participants.
input.
On events.
Okay.
Because by
Yeah.
participating, you're providing input.
Yes, yes, better.
In event, for events. For events.
I like to think of it better.
And Vanessa, you said to me the other day, where this letterhead says Town of Southfield Office of the Select Board.
Mm.
Did you say something about having our own letter?
Yeah, we could create a similar header for the Tricentennial Committee. If you'd like it, to be that way.
With the
Sounds
selectmen
good to
head?
me, and then you can eliminate where it says Southborough.
Yeah.
Tricentennial can be probably.
Yeah, that will save some space.
Oh, you can create the new letterhead tomorrow?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, cool.
She's magic.
All
not
right.
until after the personnel board meeting. So, late morning.
Yeah. Actually, I'm gonna be there tomorrow night, 6 o'clock, right?
I believe it's
The
6.
dry run.
Yeah.
Fall. So,
Pre-town meeting.
Your town meeting.
6.
I'm looking at the list here. One thing I threw out to Dawn before everybody showed up. If you look at the town seal. It is the most boring town seal in Massachusetts. How about a contest? Nothing new.
We've talked about that and the pros and cons of doing that.
You're talking about a tricentennial logo.
No,
Tricentennial.
no, just a new town
Or
seal.
town seal. Well, that's
Because-
probably not under our jurisdiction.
But if you can throw it in there as part of it, people, no? Come on, we afraid the selectmen get stuck with some money up there?
I think we got enough challenge trying to come up with
That's right.
our own.
Not on the agenda. Not
Yeah.
a bad idea, though.
Other than that, I think it looks great.
Yes, I thought the survey was,
So I just want to read back that sentence then. We will be reaching out to local businesses and organizations to become sponsors and participants for events, period.
How about to solicit, to request support?
And organizations for support and participation. How about for support?
yes.
Yes.
Okay. And I don't even think you have to say events.
No. Period. Support and participation.
Okay, support and participation, period.
Yes.
For support.
So with those changes. Formatting and words. And Vanessa just. Changing the letterhead and the changes we just discussed. It would be appropriate, I think, to have a motion. To approve this outreach letter. And authorize me to sign.
So moved, but I have another question. So at the bottom, you have Don Morris Chair and your email address. But where is the email address for the
Committee.
Southborough?
Well, we can
300.
update that in the header, see where it says the selectman's office address. We could put the new Southborough 300 email in the header.
Okay. But so do we want things going to him personally? Or
I think
to,
I think Patty's got a good point. If we put the general response email there, that would be the easiest for people to,
And get rid of mine.
Yeah,
yeah, in place of.
maybe just put in another sentence like we did in the other thing, just. You know, for questions, feel free to contact us at email address. Questions or comments?
or would you put that,
Actually, why don't we even have to put that? You're right. Let's
Yeah.
put the email address at the top because we really want this letter to gear people to the survey.
yeah,
Right.
So put the letter, don't include any email address at the bottom.
yeah, because I think the survey is their opportunity to
Yeah,
reach out.
right. I agree.
Okay.
Motion's been made.
Second.
And seconded. There's still no changes we discussed. Any discussion? Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, Morris, aye.
Martin's eye.
Jennings and I.
Burns Fiore, aye.
Kendall,
Last
I.
Very good, thank you. Move on to the next agenda item, which is the Google survey.
So this has been updated from this version that was in the packet. I think Vanessa sent everybody a link to the current version earlier. It was just based on the comments that came in from different people.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we go.
You.
Thank you.
If it's easier, I can just walk you through what the differences are.
Yes, please.
Okay, so 1 and 2 were separated out into 2 different fields, so that for sorting purposes. What is your connection to town? Under 4, it can be checked and both. It doesn't have to be an either or.
Okay, I was gonna.
Yes.
ask that.
The wording of 5 was changed to represent not just residents, but resident of or in business in Southborough.
Now, how does somebody like me answer that?
Very carefully.
It's a text field,
Oh,
so you
can write
could
that.
say 20-year resident, 13-year business if you want.
Perfect.
I don't know that we need to get,
No, I don't
Yeah,
think that needs to
but
be
it is only a text
deal
field
that you.
as far as I know. Oh, overall, we made the font heavier, so it's more readable. Oh, number 7, we added in a 3rd checkpoint of please share the name of your organization and ideas and how your organization could participate.
Can I just go back to 6?
Yeah.
1 second. When I look at this, I would want to check off everything.
Yep.
And it says, check all that apply. Do you think we should say check any or all that apply? Or to intimate?
So you just want to change the word all to any? I don't care.
I'm just asking if that, like, I look at this and I'm like, oh, I would love a family barbecue. I'd love fireworks. I'd want to check them all.
Should we have them number them in order of priority? But that's gonna get
That would
really
get-
confusing.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
I would just go. choo, 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 choo.
Patty, I
It
have
should be
one
singular, it
question.
shouldn't be plural.
Was it intentional to have in number 6, house tour, and historic house tour?
No, where's house tour?
Yeah.
In
First
the
column.
first column.
Oh, you know what? No, we should take out house tour and just make it a historic.
Well, I
house
think
tour.
what that was supposed to be was
Holiday.
holiday tour.
Well.
You're probably
we-
not gonna have more than one.
Well, we don't know that it's gonna be a holiday house tour. I mean, like the one that we did a couple of years ago. So I think if we are more general, just saying, well, that's true.
Well,
House tour. So maybe take out the word
do we
historic.
do- Or do we do like like, and again, I can suggest this, but did we do a holiday house decorating tour? You know, is there,
Having been fairly involved in that original one, where that was kind of the original concept.
oh, I mean,
I think that for the purpose of this, to leave it as generic as possible would be best. So we could say either house tour or historic house tour, although not all of the houses that you're gonna get are historic.
right, so which one do you think you should put?
House tour,
Just, okay, so knock out historic.
right?
Yeah,
It'd be fun to get some of the historic homes to participate, but you're not gonna get a whole tour.
Right,
Yeah.
and yeah. Okay, so also speaking to 6, we added other. That was a new,
parade should be singular. It costs a lot of money to put a parade together.
great, where's great?
First one.
Oh, geez. Okay.
We put that, well, I think we put that in there because we thought that, having a parade on Main Street only, is great, but having a small parade in other neighborhoods like
I don't want one on my neighborhood.
Central Street.
No, that's not gonna happen in my neighborhood.
Because I'm running down Main Street, down Porterville Road,
So you're gonna prioritize neighborhood.
Woodland Road.
Again, I don't think that we're
I don't think that's gonna,
delineating anything
Yeah.
here.
No,
like-
it's just
if somebody
explaining
comes
how
up
that's
with
gonna be.
in their survey with an idea of a
Yeah.
specific parade, sure, great, but.
Okay, so 8 is the same. 9 is the same. 10 is the same.
Do we need an example in number 8, for example?
These things. Well, that's what the box is for.
I'm just saying,
No,
no, okay, because I don't really know what these, list the themes or historical aspects you would like to see highlighted.
go back in the
Please
250, I
list
think
any-
we had pickup trucks loaded with kids and women dressed in
Anything
colonial clothing, things
Yeah,
like that.
that's good. Okay, 11, that's the same. 12. Do we put in, okay. 14, we added email address and phone number, and we added thank you.
Looks good. Any
So-
questions or comments on this latest version that we have tonight?
I'll get in touch with Katie to make these changes.
Great.
We can vote on this then. Right?
Make a motion to accept the survey.
As amended. As amended.
As amended. I don't have my hearing aids. I'm
Second.
sorry.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any more discussion? Questions, comments? All in favor? Morris, aye.
All right, side.
Bennington, I.
Burns Fiore, aye.
Campbell, life.
Lasky, aye.
Very good, thank you. Next item on the agenda is the next meeting date, which we have listed as March 23rd, that's Saturday morning at 9:30. If we have no business to conduct at that time, then we won't. But if there's a few things or one thing that we want accomplished, then we have an opportunity half hour before town meeting starts to
Town meeting starts at 10.
what's that?
Town meeting
Yeah.
starts at 10.
10, yeah. But that's not on, hopefully not our next meeting. We're gonna have our next meeting when?
How about
Next week.
Monday or Wednesday?
Yeah, we're gonna get together beginning of the week.
Yeah, what about Monday?
This
The
room is
18th.
free Monday night.
Pardon me?
This room is free
Okay.
Monday night.
Probably best Monday, so.
Yeah,
to work.
yeah.
Yeah, me too.
6:30?
I may not be available.
So that's March.
18.
6:30.
That sounds good.
Okay, other matters properly before the committee.
I have one item. Are we gonna send this letter out? I mean, do we have the go-ahead to? Do I have the go-ahead to do that in MailChimp to the people that we have the list of? Or are we pausing on
The survey or the letter?
the letter with the reference to the survey? That was how we were gonna first distribute it, and then we were going to send that to like Beth Milo to put in my supper. And we are gonna list it on the page, the survey on the page.
Yes, and that was the reason that I wanted to finalize it tonight so that we could launch it.
Okay, so is that official? Like I have to go ahead to set up that MailChimp account and get it out?
Yes,
Okay, cool.
I'm saying yes based on what Vanessa said. Who's gonna do it?
Do you have a max on how many you can send to in MailChimp?
It's 1,000, I think, for a free account,
And how many is on the list?
125.
Okay.
You have a limit of how many per month you can send, how many emails out you can send,
Fine,
and how many and you can only have one list. We can't segregate our list,
right,
but it's all fine in a free
sure,
account until we have to move beyond that.
okay. Great.
Anything else? Are you guys, is anybody getting any like feedback, unsolicited or solicited?
Yes.
Feedback from people?
Yes,
Yeah.
I have somebody who's might be a perfect person to share the rate.
Good.
Contender. Yeah. No, I have a lot of excited young people who want to get involved.
And Patty, you said you've been working with Kathy on the schools?
I had just asked her for contacts for the schools. So she sent out emails to and copied me in and asked them to respond with who the best contact was. One responded.
Was it?
Let me see.
Okay.
So I do have the original contacts, but we have them on the list.
And you got the updates that I sent that I had worked on. I think I sent them to you, Vanessa, because I didn't want to alter the spreadsheet at the very beginning. I worked on.
Oh, is this the list of?
Oh, way back when,
Contacts?
way back, like when I first, yeah, those are all included.
Great.
But you know what, I'll send out the current list.
It would, yep, maybe to refresh everybody's
Yeah,
memory.
Like I talked to somebody in the garden club and they said, oh yeah, that should go to like 8 people.
You know. I mean, they can forward it.
Right.
I don't know that we need 8 people. I think I actually have 2 or 3 for the
Yes.
club.
Yeah.
I mean, there are definitely people, places, organizations that have more than one.
Right.
It's okay. It's like
Is
there are names.
does the committee think that one of the goals relative to the schools would be not necessarily have an event or anything, but have
Well, that was the way
some type of-
I think that's the way Kathy kind of broached it, is that if they wanted to be involved in like kind of coordinating events on their own to coincide with our stuff, or if they just wanted to be kept in the loop of what we were doing. Yeah, it's pretty open-ended.
I didn't say it right. Before school gets out this year.
Mhm.
It's not an event, but to have some type of acknowledgement. And maybe a piece of news as to what, if anything, the school, particular schools that would they, or any of us have done to get the word out. No, they haven't. But if we got a commitment from them,
I think she was talking about the private schools.
I was
just-
talking about the private schools. But I have all of, I don't know that I have Algonquin on there, but I have all of our Southborough schools on the list with contacts.
and as Kathy said, it's okay for you to reach out to them.
Yeah, she included me in the emails.
It's just too early. There hasn't been a response yet. There'll be a response.
I mean, it's not like I'm calling the guy up and asking him for coffee. We're just sending them the e-blast of, what we're looking to get started on.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I mean, this is March, but most of the schools are still in session into middle June. This year they've got out early because of snow days. But many snow days.
A non-snow day.
Yeah, right, yeah. No, I'm just saying that it is an opportunity for people to, the students and the parents to have something from the school reminding them that there's going to be a celebration.
So maybe after town meeting, we could just work on like a flyer
Yeah,
that,
Yeah.
Is kind of like a little spiffier looking and,
Mhm.
that kind of thing that goes out with packets, digital packets or something. That's fine.
Is Assabet on your list?
I believe so,
I
but let me
think
just
so.
check.
Yeah, don't forget them.
No, I'm pretty sure, but
well, I thought tonight was very productive in what we got done and what we have planned to get done in the next week. So. Mr. Denny, I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Motion's been made to adjourn and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, Morris, aye.
Martin's eye.
I have, first for your I,
Kendall, I.
Lasky, I.
for Assabet, I
Thanks,
have
Jim.
Mark.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you. See you next week.
He's super enthusiastic.